Your first break was gymnastics, so.
Yeah, my second break was gymnastics. My third break was also gymnastics. Yeah, it like stopped my fear of like breaking anything.
Yeah.
I mean, when I think about it, I don't know who was more crazier, the fact that the parent let their child do flips 5 feet in the air on a beam, or the child that decided to do that. Welcome to the Uninvited Guest Podcast.
Hosted by Samina
And Marissa.
We are the mother-daughter duo.
Turn one of your little friends.
Get ready to ditch the filters.
We're trying to break generational curses. Here, the conversations must flow free because our real life interpersonal growth depends on it. So get ready to be a part of the twists and turns in our own life stories that could give any comic book baddie a run for their money.
If you're up for some heartfelt storytelling that celebrates growth, resilience, and the struggle to keep going, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. Hello, my name is Samina. I'm your resident host, menopausal mommy, with 7 years until retirement, reporting from my home in Dallas with open tabs ranging from NBA trades and the Summer League, plus the WNBA LA Sparks girl. I don't know if you've heard of her, Lexi Brown, that was diagnosed with Crohn's.
No.
Yeah.
Wow. But I went to my first WNBA game last week.
Really? And how was that?
It was great. We'll talk about it.
Okay. All right.
Talk about it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good time. Well, hello. My name is Marissa. I am your resident zillennial with 94 days left until I'm 30. I am under the 100-day countdown. And I'm reporting from Dallas, Texas, with mi madre. And my open tabs, well, like you, NBA trade info, because my little one is just obsessed with all things professional sports and like who's getting traded, who's making more money, who's getting all the things. Perfumes, because I like want to get into a summer scent, even though I have my partner and I share all of our perfumes. But
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is it like gender neutral perfumes, obviously?
Yeah, I mean, I think all perfumes, right? Like you could, if you like it, you like it. I think it really just depends on your skin. Like what I'm learning a lot about perfume is like it has to do with your natural scent that you have. Like this is technically the real base scent that you're working with, and then how that the notes translate on your skin.
Well, that's interesting.
And we both have a really good like shareable base. Like his natural base and my natural base work really well together with the scents that we like. I know. So it's kind of nice because you buy a $500 bottle of perfume.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the thing is you don't have to use a lot of it. It's like literally like a spray here, a spray here, but we can share it instead of me being like, oh, well, you bought a $500 one and I bought a $500 one. Look at us now. Like, so yeah. We just discovered one. I can't remember the brand. Actually, hold on, because I hate when people say this and they're like,
I just want you to know I can't relate.
what?
I can't relate.
Oh, what do you mean you can't relate?
The $500 bottle of perfume.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I understand. Okay, so I think it's called, nope, that's not it. Well, when I find it, I'll definitely, but it was, I think it's a California local brand, but they have this scent called Debaser, and it is so amazing. Oh, that's it! DS and Durga is the perfume company.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you're out there looking for a new perfume fragrance, that is definitely a hot one right now.
Okay.
And it's only, well, on this website, it's $152.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
that's a little bit
that's
more
reasonable.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah.
I was
Also, the
getting
one
nervous.
that we had, I loved that one for a while.
Oh.
The one that we got at that market
Yeah,
in Frisco.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. Anyways, okay. Yeah, so I digress, but not really, because that was the topic. And YouTube is also on my open tabs.
YouTube.
Yeah. One, because our podcast is also available on YouTube. Okay. So
yes, that makes sense.
I'm learning, yes, YouTube and all the things on the back end, but also I'm using YouTube, in quotes, university, because I am finally past the phase of like, Marissa, you're going to be bad at it in the beginning, but I'm using YouTube University to learn how to use Creative Cloud and Studio, because I've always loved creative design, and I want to get into that more. I like want to tap more into and feed more of my creative side, and that's something I really enjoyed. So like I'm using Illustrator and Photoshop. So
okay, so I don't want to sound ignorant, but YouTube University, is that like a real thing, or it just means that you can find anything on the on YouTube? Because that's what Honey Dad would say. Anytime I'm asking him, he would go, just YouTube it.
Just YouTube it. Yeah. That is YouTube University.
Okay,
it's just YouTube it.
Okay.
Like if YouTube ever wanted to rebrand, they should just say just YouTube it, because it is true. Like I need a visual. Right. I'm a visual learner. Right. And so, yeah, I'm like watching people do it, and then I'm like, I have it like screen by screen, so then I'm like mimicking what they're doing. But yeah, anyways, that's it. So what's your word for the week? Do you have a word for the week?
I don't have a word for the week. Yeah, I'm just living life at this moment. Lifing is lifing and living in the moment, so there's no real word for that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
You?
I was like, yeah. That's funny. Like you're like, I don't have a word, and I'm like, do I have a word? My word for the week. I'm like, what am I feeling presently? I'm just like overwhelmed.
Oh, overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed. So, well, there's two words. I'm relieved. Mm-hmm. That's one word, because I now have had my procedure, that procedure that we've already talked about, and I feel so much better.
You can breathe.
I can breathe. Yay. I got 100% of my breathing, or I'm close to it. I'm still draining a lot. So I'm relieved in that aspect, and then we got a praise report that the culture swab came back as just like normal bacterial growth, so nothing that I have to worry about in the long term of health condition, which is great. But overwhelmed, I just think growing up is beautiful, but there's pockets of life that are just chapped seasons that are just so overwhelming by maybe the things that you're learning, the things that you're going through. And it is like it's a newness every single time. And I think right now I've just like this week felt a bit overwhelming in all of the lessons that I've learned. I'm grateful that I've gotten through them all. Like they were quick, short lessons.
Okay.
But they were very like, oh, okay. we're gonna give it to you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will say that that's like an overwhelm, because I still want to be present with the lessons that I've learned and make sure that I, going forward, remember them. Yeah. Right?
Well, you will, I'm sure. That's what normally lessons are about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully.
For sure.
If you're paying attention anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So that's it.
Okay. We love that.
Yeah.
We love that.
But
well, I want to tell you, honestly, you're talking about overwhelm. The one thing I can tell you, sports, right?
Yeah.
That's always I've learned that's my reliever. Like to get away from it all, right? Like when I'm stressed or overwhelmed, whatever the situation, it's a way, even though it's a reality, but it's not really reality.
It's not your reality.
Yeah. So I can step away for a moment and just enjoy, and
That's interesting, which is so true. Like kind of going back to your open tabs of like, it was pretty much all things sports.
All things sports.
So that rings very true. But I also remember sports being like our bonding time.
Yeah.
Growing up, once you divorced dad, like I wanted to sleep with you despite me having my own bedroom. And I was young. I was 7, y'all. Chill. And I wanted to sleep with you. And I just remember, like, if I came in the room, I couldn't watch what I wanted to watch. I had to watch.
You had to watch the basketball games with me.
College basketball. And no one put me to sleep more than Dick Vitale. In the best way possible. If I fangirl over anyone, if I were ever to have the opportunity to meet Dick Vitale with you, I'd probably faint.
Well, I don't think I've ever known that. That's interesting.
I would faint because he's like my childhood hero. I'm like, you raised me. Kind of like people do from like Disney or like, you know, they're like, this was my, Dick Vitale was mine.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, you know, I made you watch that because all the other times we did the kid stuff, right?
For sure.
That
was your time.
So that was my one time. If you want to encroach on my time, you're just going to have to.
This is good.
Yeah, I learned.
Sorry. My mom made this.
A little hydration there. It's hot.
Yeah.
It's summertime, so.
For those that aren't watching it, what did you make? Sorry.
So I made infused water with lemon, cucumber, and mint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's so flavorful.
Yeah.
Sorry. To your point, which we were still talking about, that was your time.
Yeah. So it was just my time. So like if you were going to be present, my few moments that I normally would get to have by myself going to sleep, obviously, or in my own bedroom.
Yeah.
You were going to have to watch it. And of course, from then, you just learn to, you may have not rooted for my teams.
No.
You probably did as a kid.
I did. Yeah, for sure.
But now you don't.
No. Well, wait a minute. I'm not anti your team, which is your alma mater.
Correct.
Which is Indiana University.
Yeah.
I'm like, go Big Ten, because I grew up watching the Big Ten, and you even root for the Big Ten.
I do.
The second Indiana's out, I'm sorry, IU. You're like, okay, go Big Ten.
Yeah.
And we're going for any other team. And I still think that is my default, like go Big Ten. And then I will go out and, you know, pick amongst whoever's left who my favorite team is. Okay. Gonzaga, right? I'm trying to think of another one.
Which is so funny. I think about Gonzaga and
I know.
me going, I remember during recruiting season, you're like, Mom, where should I go? I want to go where there's a basketball school. We went to Spokane. We went to Spokane to play volleyball for a tournament. And you said, oh, no, I can't go out here. But you didn't really realize about Gonzaga's basketball team. I didn't.
If I would have known at the time, I would have definitely sent my tape in to Gonzaga, the coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Because I did. I wanted to go, which is funny because, like, all the basketball schools, though, were in mostly, like, cold places. Mm-hmm. And I also didn't want to go anywhere cold. So I was, like, I had conflicting, like, desires.
Right.
But, yeah, if I could go back, I would definitely go to Gonzaga.
Yeah.
And I love the mountains now, which is so funny that, like, I was, like, anti that, but I was a teenager. So I don't, But I think that was something we could always go back to. Like, you instilled that in me. It was something that we could bond over. And on a lighter note, you know, we talk about so many things of healing through us, but like sometimes you just have to be kind of like your word, like not having a word. Like sometimes you just like don't have to have a heavy hitting conversation.
Yeah.
You don't have to have the healing focus. Sometimes you just need to be present with each other and do something that you both enjoy, that's easy on the mind, it's easy on the heart. And college basketball is definitely our thing.
Right.
And I feel like we've even, like, I flew in yesterday and you're like, the ESPYs are on.
Yeah.
And I was like, I had no idea. Like, I didn't even know that the ESPYs were on. I knew it's this time of year, obviously, but we ended up watching the ESPYs, and I mean, laughing at parts, and I teared up at parts where, like, Dawn Stanley was giving her speech because she's probably my next Dick Vitale, to be honest. But yeah, like, I think that it's necessary to find, like, the simple bonds and, like, don't overthink them. I would have never thought college basketball would have been our bond moment. And now we're like, okay, you know, NCAA tournament, are we going together? Where is it this year? Can we get tickets?
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's funny also that, you know, when, you know, one of your, actually a couple of your friends have said to me, like, oh my gosh, now I know where Marissa gets it from when they've seen me.
yeah.
You know, because obviously most people think, you know, if you're sports, it comes from the man side. And, but you know that I love, especially college basketball. Yeah. And I will make a point. There used to be a time where I would actually take vacations around the tournament time.
Right.
You know? And
yeah. No, y'all, she does. Legitimately.
Maximize that vacation time.
Every year, since I can remember, you've always taken that final week off of the championship.
Yeah.
It's great. It's such iconic behavior from my mom. Like, it's one thing I'll always be able to say about you.
Well, you know, at least they can't say, you know, they always say it, March Madness, it's time when people are unproductive at work, right? Yeah. So they cannot say I'm not productive because I'm not there.
I'm not there. Just count me out. Take me out, coach.
So, you know, it makes sense to me.
Yeah. No, it truly does. It's great, though, and I love that because then, like, there's so many screenshots I have, and I actually, like, screen recorded, I think it was this past season, and, like, we were both watching the game, but I was in Cali and you were here, and I FaceTimed you, and, like, I think my TV was, like, slightly ahead, and it was just so funny to watch our faces, like, oh, like, and we make the same sounds when we see, like, you know, dope plays or whatever happen, and you're right, because you would be so unproductive, but we're very productive in our relationship and bonding. Yeah. Which, but I think, to your point of, like, you instilling sports in me and my love for sports, I had a realization of why you love sports because grandma. And last year was it last year when we went to London? I
think it was last year.
Last year, 2023. Yeah, so 2023, we went to London for unfortunate circumstances that her sister had passed. One of her sisters had passed. And while we were there, Wimbledon just happened to be going on. Right. And thanks, Aunt Moy, for orchestrating that with God to pass on that week, I guess. Because on the flip side of Grandma being very sad and mourning her sister's death, we were able to make that happen where we went to Wimbledon. And even though we couldn't get into a tournament because all the tickets were literally...
Yeah, because it was during the finals, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It was at the end.
It was at the end. We were still able to go on the grounds and sit on the famous lawn and watch on the big screen with everybody else that was there and just take it all in. And it was just so fun to watch Grandma as she became like a little kid. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And we went to the bathroom at one point and she saw a famous tennis player that she has watched several times. I mean, probably hundreds of matches. Right. You cannot deny that Grandma's watched.
That's all she does all year.
Thousands. And that in real football, soccer. She's watching. But, like, it was this tennis player who's been well known, and I think she even beat Serena. Yeah, and she was going to the bathroom just like every human does. And Grandma was like, oh my gosh, I think that was, I don't know the name. And you know Grandma, we can't get Grandma to get a picture, like, still for nothing. Right. I have a picture with Grandma smiling so big because we got this woman's attention. Aww. And it's just one of my favorite memories. And so it made me go deeper and try to ask Grandma, like, how did you end up loving tennis? Because you didn't play it.
Right.
So it's not from there, which is typically like how a love for a sport happens. Which actually would make sense why you love basketball. You didn't play either. But anyways.
Wait, I did try to love basketball. I did try to play, but they told me to dive on the ground, and I was like, oh no.
Okay. So that makes that makes even more sense. But yeah, I was just like, Grandma, where does this love for tennis come from? Knowing you never played the sport. And my grandmother grew up in Jamaica. And her papa, my papa, your papa, all of our papas, Papa Enos, gave her a radio, and she would change the knob to get the stations that they were playing, and the commentators were talking live of the matches, and she would listen, and she would close her eyes and visualize the actual tennis match happening.
Wow.
And that is where her love for tennis began.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What's really crazy, I mean, we take it for granted having a TV, right?
Right.
And you have to be a good commentator.
Right.
For someone to be able to visualize the actual game, serve, this hits or what's going on. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And to think this was like 19
something before I was born, obviously.
Yeah,
in the 50s.
50s.
Probably.
In Jamaica.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, like I can almost see Grandma like just laying under a mango tree or like
well, that sounds amazing. To sit under a mango tree and listen to the radio.
Like
wait, can we go back to that time? That sounds
simple.
I want to do that. Yeah,
simple.
Yeah.
Going back to doing the simple things matter. Yeah, but like I can just imagine that version because I mean, Grandma's coming over later today and I'm so excited, but like her walking through the door, one of the first things she'll probably say is, "Did you watch the tennis match?"
That's true.
And it just, I see the kid.
Yeah.
I see the kid every single time.
Yeah.
In her, and I'm just like, wow, it's so beautiful to know that she loves something so much like that.
Yeah. She records tennis like I record college basketball.
Yeah. Oh, I
the
forgot
difference
about
is
that.
She doesn't necessarily watch it live all the time.
Yeah.
She'll go back and watch it. Not much later, but she'll go back and watch it. Me, I watch it live and record at the same time, just in case I want to see it later.
Yeah, in off season, you give yourself, you're like fiending for it. You're like, give me basketball. And I'm like, Mom, what are you doing? You're like, watching the 2019 championship between.
Well, honestly, the funny thing is, I mean, I haven't actually watched the college basketball since the end of the season for two reasons, I think. One, because the NBA is getting so much younger. So a lot of the kids that we watched are there like 2019, 2021, right?
Yeah.
So it's almost like a transition where they would have stayed in before, where they used to be in for 4 years, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of them are there. And then the WNBA or from the girls basketball.
Yeah.
So I've now created a love for that too. I mean, I love basketball. We know that.
Yeah.
But I've never really had a passion for girls basketball.
Yeah.
Even though I had a passion for girls sports, you know that.
Right.
Not necessarily girls basketball. So yeah.
Yeah. I too feel that way. Like it's so interesting going back to like the WNBA. I had a sister that played basketball. Like my dad loved basketball and women's sports as well, or at least the sports that we played because he was the girl dad.
Yeah. I'll give him that much.
Yeah. And so I'll give him that much. He was the girl dad. And so playing that sport, I'm just like, oh, like how did I not love basketball, women's basketball? But now, I really do enjoy it. Going to, I've watched a couple of games via the TV, but I went to my first game and I just couldn't stop like saying like, wow, like, this is amazing. And I think it's also in contrast that I went to a Lakers game. And Lakers games, no offense to Lakers fans, are so dead. It's silent in there. Like, you could hear a pin drop.
Is it because the people are all pompous?
Yes.
That they're all there for just to be seen?
To be seen.
Not necessarily heard.
1,000%.
Okay.
And Clippers games, to which I haven't been to a Clippers game yet, but are supposed to be like rowdy, like Mavs games, like fun, invigorating, like true camaraderie, sports camaraderie.
Got it.
And like fanship. But yeah, so in contrast to like the Lakers game and then the Sparks game, where like people were going crazy. There was music blaring, people were dancing, which I have to tell you a funny story about the people dancing, but like it was just really good to see that there is a development for that and true support. It's not like a facade of things. I think we're all gathering to either confidently support something they've always loved. Because, you know, there's longtime fans
of course.
there. And then there's also new people that are just like, oh, so what does that mean? Or like, what's going on? Or like, you know, and I think the blend is what is also making it so exciting.
Yeah. So do you maybe think you didn't like basketball because you were the little sister that was always dragged to the games and the practices?
Probably. Actually, now that you ask me that question in that probably. I just didn't want to be there. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. Because you had your own sports.
game.
I mean, think about it. You were doing gymnastics at that time. So I'm sure, and trying to get you into ballet or something else, but you know, I'm sure that's probably why you weren't really.
Probably. Yeah. That's such, that I can't think of any other reason why, because, you know, with college basketball and you loving it, and kind of like guiding me into loving it as well, I didn't think, why wouldn't I watch, you know, women's sports?
Yeah.
Or at least women's basketball. But it's a good game.
Yeah.
It's a good
very
game.
Exciting. Yeah, I've caught a few on the TV. I mean, I haven't had a chance to see the Wings, right?
Oh, yeah.
The Wings. I haven't had a chance to see it, but they are going to be moving to downtown Dallas, what I'm excited, because right now they're still playing in Arlington. But they will eventually, I think, next year or the year after, whenever their contract's up for UTA's campus, then they will move to downtown.
To the old convention center.
Yeah, I think so.
And revitalize it, I'm assuming. Which is really exciting for the city of Dallas.
Yeah.
Like, that's so cool that you have the Mavs and the Wings within walking distance, honestly, if you wanted to. It's on one side of downtown to the other side of downtown. And, I mean, so two things that, after watching the ESPYs, after going to my first WNBA game, one... I love to be a part of the crowd. I'm like, let's get into it. And for the first time ever I've been to NBA games, I've been to NFL games, I've been to MLB games. WNBA game, I got caught on the big screen dancing, y'all. Dancing. This old man, I hope to find him too, because he was great. Got caught on the halftime cam, and he was like showing us all this move. And the next thing I know, the whole crowd is doing it. And I was like, I want to jump on.
It's kind of like contagious, huh?
Yeah, so I was like, okay, come on. like, and then, you know, it died down. Game started back up. And another break came on. And I was like, you know, music came back on. And I just had the groove still going. So I started double timing it. My partner's doing it with me. We're having a great time. And next thing I know, he whispers in my ear and he's like, babe, that's us. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I just got caught like a deer in headlights. Like, what?
Well, the question is, were you still on beat?
Yeah, I was.
Okay, well, that's good.
I kept it, and I was like,
all right. Well, as long as you're on beat, you know.
Yeah.
Because if I would have been there, no telling what beat I would have been on.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So.
Yeah.
I give you at least give you that much.
Yeah, I also got that from Dad.
Yeah. You did get that from him.
I got the rhythm from Dad. And talking about like WNBA sports, the ESPYs, I think somebody made the point yesterday, and I believe I remember it was a monologue between Serena, well, not a monologue, but it was Serena, Venus, and then the woman that's on Abbott Elementary.
A show I have not seen.
Oh, it's really good.
Oh, really?
It's really good. It's really funny.
Check it out. Okay.
Yeah, me being in like education, I think it's comical.
Okay.
Because I've talked to so many teachers and they say like, no, these are like real stories.
Okay.
But they were just talking about like women's sports. Like you can call us also.
Yeah.
Athletes. Like we're not just women, we are athletes.
Yeah.
We are players. We are competitors. We are, I don't know what the other words that they used. But like, it was just a comparable of like, yes, at the end of the day, I am a fan of not college basketball, of the WNBA and now women's basketball, probably being college as well, because of Dawn Stanley, one, because of Caitlin Clark, two, and because of Angel Reese.
Yeah.
Why? Because I'm a competitor at heart. Yeah. I love a good competition.
Yeah.
And I think we haven't caught up to the fact that women are competitors too.
Yeah.
Like we don't have to like one or the other.
Right.
We can appreciate both because kind of like me not being able to pick a college team, I kind of feel that way about the WNBA. I'm just like, my support is kind of like
across the board.
Yeah.
Whoever has the best game.
Yeah, whoever's got the best game.
Okay, I like that. I like that perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
But I see it trending. Like I see the trend of Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
And I had to like, I was just like, what is it? You know, what is it? Because I do want to give credit to everybody who has been in it and who is going to be in it. But I realized Caitlin Clark is comparable to Stephen Curry. And that is the hype of today's kids. Like my little one wants to be a Steph Curry, a Caitlin Clark. Why? Because they can shoot from like these insane shots past the 3-point line. And that looks like superhuman.
Yeah.
And Caitlin Clark is doing that.
Yeah.
She's showing it like, it don't matter who you are.
Yeah.
Like, you can do it.
Yeah.
And so I know that I'm not giving that only to her as to why she's good, but it's definitely the fascination with her game.
Well, the funny thing is, I mean, think about it, Steph really was an underrated draft pick.
Yeah, he came from Davidson.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Super underrated.
Yeah, but I mean, what he's done though, how he's elevated the game, for them to realize the 3-point shot means a lot.
Right.
You know, where before it was all about just dunking, right, and the fast break,
right,
the alley oop or whatever,
right.
So yeah, he's definitely changed it. That makes sense, and she's probably changing the game too, just because she's bringing that excitement. Like, right. I don't need to go all the way down to the court. You know, I don't need to go to the basket.
Right.
I can shoot from right here.
For sure, and I think. Honestly, like you even making that point makes even more sense because I feel like when I did have conversations in defending women's sports and specifically women's basketball, it was always really like, they can't dunk. You know, the women can't dunk. And I'm like, well, why are you only expecting people to dunk? Right. Because the Shaqs of the world. That was once a time where we wanted to see nothing but dunks.
Fast
like
breaks,
And now it's like, no, let's see all the skills you got. Let me see that 7-footer Zach Edey shoot that 3 and be like, whoa! Right. Like he's got skills, you know? So yeah, I don't know. I'm just excited for the world of sports in general. Yeah. Like I really think, I don't know.
Well, I'm definitely, you know, because the Olympics is coming up.
I know.
So I'm so excited to see the girls, you know, I'm always excited to see the girls gymnastics. Yeah. The team. Just, you know, of course, because you used to be a gymnast till you realize you got too tall. Or at least someone told you. I would have never told you were too tall. I'll let you figure that out for yourself.
Thanks. I don't know what's more like heartbreak regardless. Like delayed.
Well, I mean, but you enjoyed it, right? So why cut your legs off if you're still enjoying this sport?
Literally. My legs needed to be cut off in order for me to be able to compete. So to that point, like I'll say why and why I would probably cut my kids' dream short if I knew because there was no chance for me to be in the Olympics.
Yeah.
And that was my driver. I was training for the Olympics.
Yeah.
I didn't have any smaller goal. I didn't have, yes, college could have been an option, but I was Olympic driven. I was training and spending those long hours in the gym to be an Olympian.
Yeah.
And when I realized that I couldn't because I'd be disqualified for the uneven bars, I was just like, well,
what's the point?
What's the point? I go try to be an Olympian elsewhere. What I realized is I didn't have that passion for any other sport other than gymnastics. But
honestly, I don't really think I knew you were going to be too tall until I was. Until you were.
Yeah.
For sure. Not that I was like, no, just let her play. I mean,
she's living in a fantasy world.
Because, it's a crapshoot. Like, would you have turned out tall or not? Because your dad is tall and I'm not.
Yeah.
So it could have been anything.
Yeah.
So, and your grandma's shorter than me.
Yeah.
So, you really could have anywhere in between. I never really realized that you were going to be too tall until you told me you were too tall.
Yeah. Yeah. I just wanted to come to that realization. Like, I wanted to hit that reality sooner because it was heartbreak. Like, I don't think I ever talked about it, but I do now, and gymnastics was definitely my first love, and I wish I could have seen that day. Yeah. But I do get to see it through the women that are representing Team USA now, and that's incredible.
Yeah, I'm actually just thankful because we have less breaks now, physical breaks.
Oh, yeah.
Your first break was gymnastics, so.
Yeah, my second break was gymnastics. My third break was also gymnastics. It definitely, stopped my fear of, breaking anything.
Yeah.
I mean, when I think about it, I don't know who was more crazier, the fact that the parent let their child do flips 5 feet in the air on a beam, or the child that decided to do that. I don't really think it's 5 feet in the air, but it's high.
Yeah, it's high and thin.
And
you're talking about the balance beam.
Yeah, I'm talking about the beam.
Yeah, it's thin too.
That's what I said. It's narrow.
I thought you said in the air.
Yeah.
But you didn't say how narrow it was.
Yeah, it's quite narrow. Yeah, so I'm just like, who's crazier? The parent being like, I'm signing you up from gymnastics, or the child that's like, let me do a flip off of this.
No, honestly, you started on the floor.
Yes, you always start on that's how they train
on the floor.
you.
So your parents don't really realize that you're going to be up in the air at that point.
Yeah.
Except for, I do remember the first time. Back then, you had asthma still.
Yeah.
And I remember you had to have an inhaler. I don't know, it was nerves why you ended up, or what that was triggering it. And then I remember you telling me, oh my gosh, Mom, I feel dizzy. I'm like, oh no. Can you see the beam? Because, girl, this is not something that you want to make a mistake on.
Yeah. I'm sure. There was a point, I remember, that, the balance beam, it was never a fear because I loved it. But I realized how high I could jump.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And I then would control my jump to not jump too high because I was so high off the balance beam and I had to come down.
Yeah.
So I still had to get up high enough where my legs could obviously be straight and my toes pointed.
Right.
And me get, graded to the proper point that I wanted.
Right.
Versus me jumping lower and controlling it. But beam was probably my least favorite.
Yeah.
Vault was my jam.
Really?
I loved vault.
I thought it was the floor.
I loved floor. Floor naturally I think is everybody's favorite because it's so expressive and it's longer time in showing your skills.
Right.
Right? So I kind of don't even want to put floor in there, but if I were to pick between the uneven bars and vault, I loved the vault.
Got it.
Something about that adrenaline rush of running.
Yeah.
I feel like it's probably track and field,
Right.
Long jump, triple jump. It's kind of that same just excitement.
Right.
And then that spring is just Exhilarating.
Exhilarating.
Yeah.
You've never expressed that before.
Yeah. I don't know. It's still in my heart.
Yeah. But, I mean, I'm thankful, that your dad and I were, well, of course, we were both athletes before we got married. So,
right.
And then we thought it was very important, even as girls,
yeah,
that you both were involved in sports in some, didn't really matter what sport it was, because you've done a lot of them, honestly. But, and we were open to any sport.
Yeah.
But we wanted you girls to realize that you didn't have to just sit on the bleachers and watch the boys. You too could be active and enjoy the same team sport or single sport.
Yeah.
Like any other boy would.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm grateful for that gift and that mindset that you both had, because it definitely, it taught me a lot. Playing sports teaches you so much. Definitely team sports. I mean, individual sports, I think it teaches you how to talk to yourself in a positive manner, because you have to talk through everything, right? But team sports, it teaches you how to empathize. It teaches you how to step up. It teaches you how to lead. It teaches you how to step back, right?
Yeah.
It teaches you how to negotiate. Like, there's a lot that happens unsaid.
Yeah. And which is the good thing is that it transcends into life too. Most people don't realize it.
Yeah.
But it really transcends into life, that kind of like those team bonding people don't realize, or when your teacher puts you on a group assignment, group project, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the same thing, a group project, but this is like in motion.
Yeah.
In motion,
yeah,
right?
For sure.
And you have to figure it out like pretty much on the spot. And
yeah. Life is sports. Sports is life.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
Well, I loved this conversation.
Me too.
This is fun.
Yeah, I could talk basketball all day long.
I know, me too. Which I was like, all right, we gotta somehow figure out how to wrap this up, because next thing you know, we'll be commentating until college basketball comes back in October. So let's just.
Which I can't wait.
I know. Okay, closeout question. How do you feel about now the retirement of Coach K, which he's already been retired for a year now, so we've had 1 year without him. We've had retirement of, oh my gosh.
Roy Williams.
Yes, I was like, my
that's
man.
Your guy.
That's my man. Coach Roy at UNC. It's now been 2 years, right? 2 or 3 years. I think 2 years.
Did Coach K go before Roy?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
Roy went before Coach K.
Okay.
And then now with Coach Cal being at Louisville, that's going to be so.
No, he's at Alabama.
He's at Alabama?
He's at Alabama.
Wait, he got Alabama?
He went to Alabama.
Coach Calipari.
Look it up.
I am.
You're not doubting your mom, are you?
No, I don't doubt you at all. But I am kind of suspicious, because why would you go? No, we're both wrong.
Where?
Arkansas.
Oh, I knew it was A team. Arkansas. Okay.
Arkansas.
Okay.
I don't know why. Okay, weird. I don't know why I thought it was Louisville. I know Pitino went to Louisville.
I knew it was an A team, but.
Wow. Okay, but still, how do you feel?
It's gonna be weird, right?
It's gonna be so weird.
The question is, Kentucky has had such a long history, right? Since he's been there, obviously.
Yeah.
And the players look forward to playing for him.
Yeah.
Are they going and having that big show as far as all the
midnight march
and
midnight madness? Yeah.
But then all the Kentucky faithful, right? Not saying that Arkansas is not faithful.
Yeah.
But are the kids gonna still want to follow him to Arkansas? The big top ones. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I think where Coach Cal goes, he has an effect.
Yeah.
I remember watching his 30 for 30. And I that's where I grew so much respect for him, and just how he nurtured the incoming class and their families. He made them feel confident in his leadership as a coach and as a mentor. And so I do think they will follow. I also think that it's helpful that he does go to another university that doesn't have professional sports.
Yes.
Arkansas.
Yeah.
All they got is college sports.
Yeah. Really? No professional at all? Nothing?
No NBA team.
Wow.
No NHL team. No MLB team.
Wow.
I know.
Kind of like Nebraska.
Yeah, exactly. Like
faithful.
it's a faithful.
Well, that's good,
That was
though.
Kentucky.
Oh, really?
Kentucky doesn't have a team.
Oh, well, that's smart. I mean, for a college coach, that's very smart.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think they will.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a part of his tactic, but if it is, gotcha.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, kudos to him if that's the case.
yeah, no. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see, and I still think I am a Coach Cal fan.
Yeah.
It'll be hard to root for Arkansas, but I'm a Coach Cal fan.
We just got to switch it up.
I know. I don't know if I look good in maroon. Just kidding.
You look good in anything.
Thanks, girl. I got it from my mama. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining another episode of Uninvited Guest. We hope to hear from you. Let us know what you think of this episode, and we'll talk to you very soon. Bye.